get this going. Right. Oh, stupid cable there. Stopping my touchpad from working. Right, hopefully that'll work. Ta-da. I put a slideshow together, deciding which of these are my favourite and which of these are my least favourite, and I've also written in some episodes that I like and some episodes I don't like. I just want to disclaim this by saying, firstly, warning in advance because the font colours are awful. I just tried to find something that actually could be decently readable, not considering the camera quality anyway, but yeah. And also I've not seen a lot of some Doctors. I'd like to also say that a lot of the earlier ones, especially the first 5, I haven't really had a lot of content from, and so if they're lower than you think they should be, A, it's a matter of opinion, and B, maybe it will change with time. It's just some of the older episodes I haven't seen as many of, and yeah. Anyway, here it is. I'm just going to go straight on with someone who's not in that photo. Yep. I haven't written any episodes on that because there's only one of them. Well, technically. Honestly, and my only problem with the Fugitive Doctor is the concept of it. It also makes sense. I don't see how it makes sense. I mean, she's either a later Doctor on, but then why doesn't she remember 13? Or she's a previous pre-Hartnell one, but why does she have the TARDIS? So there's that. That doesn't make sense. I'm sure there's a way you can come up with an explanation for that, but it kind of breaks itself. Her actual performance wasn't bad, but I also don't have a lot of content, so I think it would also be fairly mean of me to put her above anything, given the fact that she's got one proper appearance and it makes no sense. Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a trend here, just new stuff, and I'm going to adjust the brightness so you might not be able to see me, but you'll still be able to maybe read the text. Alright, that is slightly better. Okay, that'll do. 13th Doctor. I hope she goes to Big Finish because she has been dealt some awful writing. She's been given some of the worst episodes I've ever seen, and that's not fair. That's not fair on her because she's a great actor. The costume is, I mean, yeah, it's just a bit weird. The characterisation doesn't really suit her as an actor, I think, and I think they should have made her seem a bit less mental. I mean, she just seems like a kid who's had too much sugar, and that's just that's kind of a lazy way to write the character, because I mean, the person who writes the Doctor like that is the sort of person who will tell you that, you know, make Richard Ayoade the Doctor because he's weird. So that's my opinion. Best episode. You're gonna hate this. I put Revolution of the Daleks on there. I honestly, I mean, it's not great. It's got the annoying American guy in it, which, by the way, I also put Arachnids in the UK on the worst. But talking about the best, Revolution of the Daleks. I think it's undoubtedly one of her best. I don't know, it was a bit boring, it was really weirdly paced, and it seemed to have a lot of references shoved in, but her actual performance kind of works in it. I'm not going to go into detail about all of my best, because I've only got a few on this, but in some of them I've got lots of episodes, especially the number one, I've put almost every episode. But I like how in Revolution of the Daleks she kind of has to I mean, it's more like this characterization as a hyperactive kid is kind of taken off for a minute, and it's kind of like she's just wearing it to mask what she's actually been through. I'm chatting shit now. But basically, she has to act like a normal person for a bit. And as well as that, Ryan, who's always been kind of bland emotionally, well, it's the only episode where that kind of thing really works. Praxis, I've also put The Haunting of Villa Diodati, or however you say that. I didn't want to put that because the Doctor's already gone travelling with Mary Shelley, as you'll know. If you know The Big Finish. And you say that it's not listening to the Big Finish monthly range adventures, but that's not true. And I mean, the obvious thing to say would be to say Night of the Doctor, but I'm going to say something else. They brought in someone who in the Timeless Children, they brought in an actor who resembled the actor who plays Rassilon in that exact series. In the Big Finish monthly adventures. So because he played Rassilon in that, it was a reference to that series. So obviously the team who produced it were aware of some of these. But I don't know, canon's all over the place. So if you suspend your disbelief, it's a good episode. Other than that. Oh, and Rosa, I put that in. I can't remember it amazingly. But I've obviously put Watford 55, Arachnids in the UK, those are the two. And I've put The Timeless Children just because I hate the concept of it. So there you go. Go to Big Finish, Jodie, because you don't deserve to be given such terrible episodes, and they can pull a Colin Baker on her and recharacterise her, give her a new outfit and all that, and maybe, yeah. Fifth Doctor. I think a lot of the issues with 5 are kind of the same thing. I wasn't sure about what to put in either. I can't really sit through many of his episodes, and I hate to say it because the ones I've put for the best episodes are some really great stories. Case of Androzani, Spare Parts, and okay, this is where it comes in. He doesn't really have much great Big Finish to redeem what he was like. I mean, I don't know, but I think that of the main Big Finish Doctors, he's kind of been given the fewest good stuff. Earthshock, I like Adric getting killed. That's a joke. I didn't actually get too annoyed by Adric as a character, but I thought Earthshock was a good story. Worst episodes, again, I've not seen much past that first series, so I've put Castrovalva and Time Flight in. I mean, Time Flight I just got really bored during. Castrovalva, yeah, same. I think a lot of... There's one of those moments where, yeah, I think basically he didn't really know what he wanted to do with the character until way too late, and he didn't really get good until the very end, which is why his best story by far is Caves of Androzani, and another one of his best stories is one he's done in the last 20 years, so I don't have much to say on the Fifth Doctor because I don't watch him a lot. Alright, this is going to be the first controversial one I say because Second Doctor was really good. Patrick Troughton was the perfect person to play the Doctor, and following William Hartnell and introducing the concept of regeneration is really important. I have not seen a lot of his episodes, and mainly because I kind of find it hard to really watch some of them. Some of the ones where parts are just telesnaps, or the animated ones, I've never been able to watch them. So there's been very few of his stories I've actually watched. The ones I've watched, I've liked his performance as the Doctor in, and his companions are also very likeable. He also doesn't have any really good audio dramas. If he got a Big Finish series, I'm sure that it could be great. Him as a character, I like his performance as the Doctor, and I think it shows in the fact that a lot of people have kind of taken after him and incorporated a lot of his character traits into their own. So yeah, Second Doctor. The best episodes where I look at the ones I've seen. I put Tomb of the Cybermen. It's quite good. The Invasion, another Cybermen. I put The Abominable Snowman and Web of Fear. I didn't know what else to put, but yeah, I like those two. I don't know what to say for worst because I've not seen enough, and I don't want to say an episode's bad because I haven't got much to compare in that sense. So let's just move on to the First Doctor. Now, I really like the First Doctor episode, mainly because it's so different to the rest of it. So he's not acting as this massive hero saving the world every day, looking for a new adventure. He can't pilot his machine. He's ending up in these places, getting people into weird situations. You get historical things. His cast is likeable. He travels with his granddaughter and her teachers. And something I'm going to mention in a second. Okay, I'll just talk about the best episode. I'll talk about the best episodes. Daleks and Dalek Invasion of Earth. Great Dalek stories. Invasion of Earth, especially, is quite iconic. I've not seen the Peter Cushing one actually. I've considered watching that, but we're talking about Hartnell and Bradley here. 10th Planet I liked. I mean, First Doctor's not really in it much, but his performance in it is good. And then I've put the First Doctor Adventures. So he's got some box sets that are quite good. The first and second series I've listened to, and David Bradley as the First Doctor is brilliant. And this is where I think it really shows the charm of the old stories. If you want a perfect example of how it's different, on the first box set there's one called the Great White Hurricane, and instead of being saving the world, it's kind of just an adventure. I don't know really what to say about it, but the first three First Doctor adventure stories, the Destination Wars, really good. It's got just an alright actor to play the Master, but I think the story's good, and it's nice to see earlier Doctors and the third interacting with the Master. Then there's a Great White Hurricane, which I just mentioned, and there's Invention of Death, which is amazing. Invention of Death is really good. They go to a planet where the species do not have death, and then one of them invents death, and people start dying. It's ridiculous, but it's a really good story. It's really good, and there's not really a dull moment. And this is the thing with the earlier stuff as well. There are a lot of dull moments, especially with the first two Doctors. You get a lot of stories which could have been a lot shorter. The old format doesn't agree with me as much. I can look past it because I like the stories, but I think the old stories suffer from a lot of filler in the episodes and kind of introducing a cliffhanger right at the end because they realise they've gone to the end of 25 minutes. Worst episode, I've actually put The Unearthly Child in it. I like the episode. I put it in because I think it's a bit back and forth, as in the caveman story, not The Unearthly Child. I think the first episode is really good and introduces it really well, but I think the whole caveman plot is a bit odd. Edge of Destruction. I thought it was a good story. Where it kind of introduced the idea of the TARDIS being sentient, and I like the fact that this grumpy, rude Doctor did actually have to apologise to Barbara, but I thought it was anticlimactic. Was my mate. But I haven't watched a lot of First Doctor, and again, a lot of the episodes are missing. There's a lot of ones I haven't seen that I really need to, like The Chase, Dalek's Master Plan, Time Meddler, the Celestial Toymaker. I've not seen any of that. But I'd recommend watching some First Doctor because it's different, and if you're not going to watch it, I would recommend listening to the first Doctor Adventures. So there's that. We're going to keep going, and we've got the 11th Doctor. Now the 11th Doctor was my main childhood one because in 2010 I was 9. No, I was 8 until the end of whatever. Anyway, so this is like the one I remember coming out best, basically, and remember watching as a child most. So, though I had watched all of the Doctors of the revival live when it came out, was 3 when it started. So, this is the one I remember best. The 11th Doctor is really good, but a lot of his stuff is resolved by speeches, and the quality of episodes is really back and forth. Matt Smith as an actor is fantastic in that role, and the fact that he can balance the childishness and the old manness, don't know where I was going with that sentence, but it's brilliant. So I put a few episodes in. Best, I put the 11th Hour. It's probably the best post-regeneration episode ever, maybe even the best beginning of a series episode ever. It's brilliant. I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's ridiculous, but you should definitely see it. Day of the Doctor, one of the best episodes. I love Day of the Doctor. I mean, not just because it has David Tennant and John Hurt in it, although John Hurt really does steal the show in that, but Day of the Doctor's brilliant. Beast Below, I thought was quite good. I don't know what I was going to say about it, but I like the Beast Below. The Pandorica stuff is all good. I put A Christmas Carol, because it's probably one of the best Christmas episodes. I can't decide if I like this as a Christmas episode more or Voyage of the Damned, but I think I kind of lean more towards A Christmas Carol, because Voyage of the Damned is sort of just David Tennant fancying Kylie Minogue and then snogging her a couple of times. Time of the Doctor, really good regeneration story. I love the idea that he basically just died of old age. That's perfect for an old grandpa Doctor. Worst episode, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. What a surprise that the Chibnall episode is in worst. Yep. The Almost People stuff with the gangers, it's just forgettable. I remember watching it and not remembering it immediately, and I don't know, it's forgettable is where I'm going. The Angels Take Manhattan I put in because the Weeping Angels in Matt Smith's series are done wrong. I'm not one of those people who disagreed with bringing them back. I just disagreed with what they did. I mean, in the first Weeping Angel episode of Matt Smith's run, they say that a picture of an angel becomes an angel, and that means that since the Statue of Liberty is a weeping angel, that everyone who's ever taken a picture of the Statue of Liberty has just got sent back in time. I think people would have noticed that by now. Or Sally Sparrow has also just died because she took pictures of them. And also, I put after that the episodes with Clara, other than the last two, which obviously I've put there, because I think Clara doesn't really work with the 11th Doctor. I mean, if you've seen the series, you'll know that was really known as one of the worst series we've had of the new run. Probably the worst if new stuff hadn't come out recently. Yeah, that's what I've got to say on the 11th Doctor. But yeah, no, I love Matt Smith. I mean, there's so many other ones I could have put on there, like Doctor's Wife is good. I didn't put Rings of Akaton in the worst episodes, but I should have. I think the problem with that is what a lot of some stories are like, and it's going to come up again. Solving the day with a speech at the end. It works, but it just feels like a lot of the time it's let's redeem an episode with a speech. If you have a good episode with a great speech in it, wow, great. But that's just a kind of bog standard episode, kind of not great. and then he does a big speech, and that's what everyone thinks about. Don't kill me. Do not kill me. I've put the Fourth Doctor in the middle. So I didn't trust myself to write any stuff in. Honestly, I have not put anything in worse because I don't want to get murdered. And the two things I could confidently put in best, considering the amount I've seen, Genesis of the Daleks and City of Death. I love them. The Fourth Doctor stuff I've seen, I think The Face of Evil was alright. The thing with the Fourth Doctor is there's so much of it, and you can't deny that he is kind of perfect. He is perfect, he is inherently weird, he is an absolute dream for whoever was casting the Doctor. I don't know, it's just, I thought Sarah Jane worked better with Pertwee. I thought Leela, I like Leela as a character. I didn't like how rude he was to her and how much of an idiot he treated her like, because, I mean, she wasn't clever, but she goes off her intuition and is often right about things and doesn't even think, like, she basically carries the day in The Invisible Enemy, and he just doesn't even thank her. Anyway, he's really middle. For me, this is one that I need to see more of, and that's the problem. He's done 7 TV series, isn't it? And then he's also done hundreds of Big Finish stories. He's done more Big Finish stories than anyone as well. If you like Tom Baker, I don't think you'll ever run out of Tom Baker, but this is my only problem. It's so daunting, I don't know where to start. I don't want to just watch chronologically because I know there are some naff episodes and I kind of just want to start with the good ones and maybe watch the shit ones later. But, yeah, and I'm sorry. Maybe my mind will change later, but I'm going to move on now because I'm going to justify the other ones being better as I go along. Yes, I put John Hurt above him because this is one of the best actors of all time. He might really be the best actor who's played the role. I mean, John Hurt was brilliant. One of the few Doctors who has sadly died now. I didn't put a worst episode in. I have not listened to all of his Big Finish box sets. I've listened to 1.5 Big Finish box sets and Day of the Doctor. So Day of the Doctor's there. Only the Monstrous is a fantastic box set. If you were going to get one Big Finish box set, it would be that. Yeah, honestly. Because it brings you a whole new Doctor that you didn't know had stories, and he's brilliant. He's a complete different character. Hearing him scream at people for calling him the Doctor, and being dark, him having to murder people, it's a complete different take on a character, which I love, and John Hurt pulled it off brilliantly, and his voice is just brilliant. I mean, I don't care that he exists in audio because it's just a pleasure to listen to, isn't he? With the audios, you do have to listen to quite a few to get into them, so maybe I'll talk at the end a bit about how to get into the audios because they are worth doing. I've put the 10th Doctor 7th. I know, everyone loves the 10th Doctor, don't they? I love the 10th Doctor. He is my Doctor. I did watch Eccleston when he came out, but I was 3. This is the 10th Doctor. He's got so many great episodes. It's just the characterisation of the 10th Doctor that takes it away from me. So, the good things, he is a brilliant actor. He pulls off all the range of emotions amazingly, and he's got some of the best episodes of all time. What's wrong with him? I don't like how often he just snogs his companions. It brings a weird thing in that it kind of feels like it's just trying to attract a younger girl audience kind of thing. And I mean, yeah, I don't blame them. Anyway, So there's that. I don't really like Rose, and this is going to be the most controversial opinion I say, honestly, because, yeah, I don't like his interaction. I like 9 with Rose. I don't like 10 with Rose. I mean, to be fair, Series 2 is objectively 10's worst series, I think, and his interaction with Rose is just too flirty to be enjoyable for me at points. And they had to go and turn it into such a love story. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get why he gets more attracted to Rose than he does all of his other ones. But, yeah, he's characterised as kind of the vain, full of himself Doctor, and that really shows in the end of Time, his speech at the end, the fact it's so drawn out. People hate that, some people love it. I think it is perfect for his characterisation. So, what were his best episodes? I mean, you should know this. Human Nature and Family of Blood, Stolen Earth and Journey's End, both amazing, some of the best two-parters ever. The first series of 10th Doctor Adventures, you've got Technophobia, where where an alien race are making everyone afraid of technology and not understand what it is. You've got the Time Reaver. I'm going to sneeze in a minute. You've got the Time Reaver, where somebody's dealing weapons which make time pass incredibly slowly to people. So you shoot someone with it, every second feels like a whole hour, or worse. And then you've got Death and the Queen, which is hilarious. They go back in time to a place that they've never heard of called Goritania, and Donna becomes the Queen. And then Death himself shows up. Alright, now I've said about that, go and get that box set, you'll love it. Waters of Mars, brilliant story, really sets up the finale of the 10th Doctor. I mean, he meddles with time, and it's just the darkest ending to an episode. I mean, okay, spoiler alert, and go ahead of this. Mute the video, and then I'll wave my hands at when you can come back. Spoiler alert, he saves a woman from a Mars base that was meant to explode in a fixed point in time and kill her. And then she says no one should have that power, you know, you're wrong, you should not be allowed to do that, and goes inside and kills herself. I mean, that's so dark. Anyway, I'll go on, but first, guys, come back, I've said it. Go and watch that episode now, because why have you not seen it? The Girl in the Fireplace is not talked about enough. I know I said I hated the romantic side to him. I don't always. I mean, The Girl in the Fireplace is just brilliant. It's very emotional, and I've got to say, the Clockwork People are the thing that scares me the most. I don't know why, but I've had so many nightmares about the Clockwork People, it's ridiculous. Impossible Planet, Satan Pit, yeah, it's probably the best episode in that series, in series 2, except The Girl in the Fireplace, actually. Silence in the Library and The Forest of the Dead. Great, introduces with a song, introduces the idea that the Doctor's not allowed to tell people his name unless he marries them. It's great to watch after watching the rest of River Song's episodes, because it's quite interesting seeing it from her perspective. The Vashta Narada are another terrifying idea. I was always scared when I had two shadows, because can it actually happen? I didn't think it could when I was, what would I have been, 2006? So I would look down and be like, I've got two shadows, I'm getting Vashta Narada'd. Midnight, and I'll put a little cheeky one at the bottom because it's not Doctor Who, Casanova. Right, if you like David Tennant as the Doctor, and you haven't seen him in Casanova, you need to do yourself a favour and watch that. That's where we got the role, and it is fantastic. It's a 3-part miniseries, and I love it. I'm not going to say anything else. Go and watch it. You will love it. It's written by Russell T Davies, and he does the same British accent, and it's just hilarious and emotional and really suits David Tennant. Worst episodes: Fear Her, yeah, shit. Idiot Phantom, shit villain, kind of, yeah. Daleks in Manhattan, weird human Dalek, not really great plot, annoying American woman, pig people, and a very misused Andrew Garfield. Lazarus Experiment, yeah, bad CGI. I don't know. 42. I like it more than most people do, but it's a Chibnall episode and Chibnall bad, so yeah. Right, let's go on. We've got the Third Doctor. Now, he used to be my favourite. When I started watching Classic Who, when I got to John Pertwee, he became my favourite Doctor. Obviously, my favourite Doctors change around a lot, but yeah, I mean, I like his action hero take on it. The way he talks is just really memorable for me. He has really consistent writing. I haven't put anything in the bad episodes here. And, yeah, I don't mind the low budget stuff where they're stuck on Earth for a lot of time. I think it works. He's got some great companions. Liz Shaw is his weakest companion, but still good. I always forget which one's the companion's name and which one's the actor's name, but Joe Grant, his best companion, really lovely. Yeah, that's some of his best episodes, especially with the Master. Series 8 is great. Season, which one's the season? Whichever, number 8. Chain of episodes with the Master a lot. It's all good. And Sarah Jane, who works better with John Pertwee. And that being said, he's also got some great episodes. Time Warrior, the introduction of the Sontarans, and also the introduction of Sarah Jane. Brilliant. Spearhead from Space. Probably the best post-regeneration episode in Classic Who, now that I'm thinking about it. I'm just thinking about it. Power of the Daleks, no. Robot, meh. Castrovalva, no. Twin Dilemma, no. Time with the Rani, no. Best Classic Who post-generation episode is definitely Spearhead from Space. The Silurians, yeah, I enjoyed the Silurians. It's actually called Doctor Who and the Silurians, but I'm ignoring that. Terror of the Autons, yes. Terror of the Autons is amazing and it introduces the Master, and Delgado as the Master is brilliant. I think that he would have been in almost every episode, and I'd have loved to see more of him. I'm really sad about his horrendous fate of, I think, horrible car accident. Planet of the Spiders I put on there. It's a good regeneration episode. It's a really good regeneration episode, I think. I like regeneration episodes where the Doctor is just doing a story and happens to regenerate at the end. Honestly, I'm not sure why I put Planet of the Spiders in other than it's a regeneration episode, because I love them, but yeah, I mean, the Spiders are actually a better villain than you imagine. The only thing I don't like about it really is the stupid guy who like looks at a book, notices how to read it, and then becomes really smart for no reason. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, Planet of the Spiders is one of those Classic Who episodes which doesn't feel like a chore to watch at points because it's not really as dull. Third Doctor, love him. Again, rest in peace, John Pertwee. I've not listened to any of the audios. I don't know who does the voice. It might be John Culshaw. I'd hope so, because he is indistinguishable, but yeah. Love him. Best early Doctor, definitely. We're on top 5, and here is my first Doctor, the Ninth Doctor. I haven't put anything in best or worst. Actually, I have put a best episode in, and it's the Empty Child best two-parter. The Ninth Doctor is such a different take on the role. He carries off the just out of the time war feel brilliantly. I love his outfit the most, I think. Just the leather jacket, short hair. He's just the most human looking and kind of casual, minimalist kind of outfit. I don't know. Anyway, Eccleston is great. Eccleston pulls off this role. I'm so excited for his big finish. And the fact that he has only done one series, no really bad episodes. That might be controversial. Some people don't like some of his episodes. I love all of them. All of his episodes. I rewatch that series constantly. It's probably the one I've seen the most of. I forgot I had a drink. But yeah. So, he carries off the emotion great. He does the funny stuff great. He does the silly stuff great. But when he needs to... I mean, my perfect reference episode is Dalek. Dalek is a fantastic episode. It really calls it into question, because it introduces the Dalek, talks about how bad Daleks are, but it also calls into question how good the Doctor is, because he tries to murder it on the spot. And even when the Dalek starts becoming good at the end, he's still trying to kill it. He is telling it to commit suicide. And the whole "you would make a good Dalek" thing. I think Eccleston pulls his role off better than he's given credit for. And he's given a lot of credit. I don't know anyone who doesn't like the Ninth Doctor. But he truly is one of the best Doctors. And I don't even know if I'm sad he only did one TV series. I'm just excited to see what he does with a different companion in Big Finish. Right. Sixth Doctor. Yes, this is high up because of Big Finish made him a great Doctor, and I've only started listening to his Big Finish stuff very recently. He was given a companion called Evelyn, and I can only describe it as if Doctor Who went travelling with your grandma. Well, not exactly. A history professor or woman who loves hot chocolate. And honestly, since listening to them, I've started drinking more hot chocolate, because she just made me think about it. Lovely. Anyway, the Sixth Doctor, when he was put on TV, he was this arrogant, annoying Doctor. For some reason, the showrunner at the time thought it would be a good idea to test the audience's faith by giving them a horrifically annoying character and seeing if they'd stick with it. That's a stupid idea, and that's why the show got cancelled. Because it's not McCoy. McCoy absolutely blew it out of the park with his role. McCoy was amazing. It was just awful writing. Colin Baker didn't want to be like that, and that's why we've got good episodes. Now, I'm going to keep listening to these. I am binge listening to Colin Baker Big Finish audios. Jubilee. I mentioned Daleks. Well, Dalek in the Ninth Doctor. Well, that is just an adaptation of Jubilee. Yeah. Attack of the Cybermen. Great TV story for him. Really good. Apocalypse Element. A very loud and exciting episode, which also has the second Romana in it. I say the second because there's now been like 4 of them or something. Yeah, it's very good. With Time Lords in it, and I guess Evelyn doesn't get a great role in that one. But one in Evelyn, the Marion Conspiracy, I love that. I really liked that. I really enjoyed it. They go back in time and meet Queen Mary just before she dies, and basically just get caught up in a plot to kill her, sort of thing. And yeah, I just want to talk about Evelyn a bit more because she is one of my favourite companions ever, having watched some of these, listened to. The good thing about this character is because they're not just some young girl who he's picked up on the street. She is an old lady who he didn't even want to take with him. She just tagged along, she just insisted, and she can out-talk him. She can completely out-talk him. It's fantastic. Her chemistry with the Doctor is brilliant, and she as a character is such a brave character. She's just a joy to listen to. The actor who played her is dead, and that is incredibly sad to me. I love this character, and if you don't know where to start, the Marion Conspiracy, the Apocalypse Element, Jubilee, that whole line, they're all on Spotify for free. And I'm going to get to that later. Sixth Doctor is kind and charming, and I just love listening to him. A bit sarcastic, but not that overdone to the extent of his TV stuff. The 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi. That yellow thing isn't there on real life. Oh dear, that's weird. Anyway, ignore that. Peter Capaldi is my favourite New Who Doctor. I think that he is the other contender for the best actor ever to take on the role. He's brilliant. His character is so likeable because he does the grumpy, he does the upset about the Time War, he also does some great funny scenes, and he also has this really great rock star kind of thing. Peter Capaldi as a person is incredibly talented. I mean, he can play music, he can act, he can do drawing pretty well. There was a video of him drawing the first 4 Doctors, and it was ridiculously good. There's nothing this man can't do. He's lovable, and he's got some of the best episodes ever. He made Clara good because she was shit with Matt Smith, but with Peter Capaldi, yeah, she gets some brilliant ones. So let me start with my favourite Doctor Who episode on TV ever, Heaven Sent. Fantastic. I love Heaven Sent. The Doctor's inside a castle where the rooms rotate, being followed slowly by a creature in a veil. If it touches him, he will die. He's running around trying to find a certain room, and when he finds the room... Okay, we're doing another spoiler. I'll wave when you can unmute. When he finds the room, there is a massive wall of adamantium, which is harder than diamond. And eventually he realises that he can use the room resetting himself to bring himself back to life. And he spends over 2 billion years punching through that wall, just punching it and dying, and eventually breaks through the wall. It's a fantastic story, and the best Doctor-only story, better than The Deadly Assassin. Twice Upon a Time, really good. I love it. Yeah, him getting annoyed at Bill for not being technically real. His interaction with the first Doctor is funny. I mean, it's not the best episode he's done, but it's a great regeneration story. I like his speech before the end, I've decided. Mummy on the Orient Express, yeah, good concept story. For the Flood, Flatline, both great episodes. Flatline really makes Clara shine, I think. Oxygen, purely because the cliffhanger at the end is fantastic, that I'm still blind. But, yeah. The Magician's Apprentice, or the 2-parter that starts with that. Yeah, I love it. I love his interaction with Davros, and I like how it's wrapped up Davros' storyline. Because he saves him. Husbands of Riversong is just a fun episode. And I also want to say Wild Enough in Time and The Doctor Falls. So those are some good series. some episodes, but all the ones I'm not going to mention now are probably good. Because Peter Capaldi is great in the role. I mean, some of them aren't stuff you'd immediately think are the best episodes, but his episodes are incredibly watchable. And Peter Capaldi was absolutely born to play the Doctor. Hellbent, the Monk trilogy. I'm not going to say anything about them because they're just well and truly known as being a bit crap. The Zygon Two-Parter. I have put the Zygon Two-Parter because I think it's a perfect example of a mediocre story that they've shoved a speech onto. Smile. Stop trying to be appealing by putting emojis in your show, Doctor Who. Doctor Mysterio. It was the last Christmas special. Oh wait, no, was that New Year's? Whatever it was, I remember being disappointed by it. I don't mind it exciting. Stop taking Doctor Who to America, please. Deep breath. You know how I said I was terrified of the Clockwork People? This stopped me being terrified of the Clockwork People. I mean, to be fair, I'd also grown up a fair bit by then, but Deep Breath solidified that. It's not the best post-regeneration story ever. His post-regeneration scenes are funny, but it's just kind of underwhelming as a story. And also it shows why Clara's so annoying, because Clara needs a phone call from the Doctor and she still barely likes him because he's changed from this handsome boy. And she does her whole, oh no, you think I just liked him because he was a handsome man? Yes, of course. She denies it. She does this speech and gets an applause. Did you not watch Time of the Doctor? In Time of the Doctor, when they go to the town of Christmas and can't say anything that isn't the truth, and she literally just says she's only travelling with him because she fancies him. Yeah, of course. Right. I've ranted about Clara now. 12th Doctor. You're my top two, so after you see this next one, you'll know who my top two were by a process of elimination. Although, with the two left, I'm sure you can figure out which one my favourite is by this point. Number 2, the 7th Doctor. I love the 7th Doctor. I've said I love all of them at this point. The 7th Doctor is a silly man at heart, but when he wants to be, he can be the most daft Doctor ever. And there is a clip on YouTube somewhere from the audio story Afterlife where he is truly terrifying, but I think the most defining moments for me when I think of the 7th Doctor, so I'll just put some episodes on here and I'll say them as I go along. So, I've basically put all of his TV stuff on there because I haven't listened to enough of his Big Finish. In fact, the only 7th Doctor Big Finish I've listened to is Colditz because I wanted to see what Tennant did as his first Doctor Who role, which was a Nazi, so that's fun. Let me sum him up a bit. He's silly, can be dark, and he always has a plan. His chemistry with Ace is fantastic. My favourite companion on TV. I don't know who my favourite audio one is. It might actually be Evelyn or Charlie, but yeah. His chemistry with Ace is fantastic, and yeah, all of his episodes are in general are quite good, except bar a few which I've just not listed. In fact, in worst episodes I've just written Mel, because his episodes with Mel are a bit dull, boring. Well, I don't know, I haven't really paid a lot of attention to them. Dragonfire, great, yeah, introduces Ace, quite a fun episode. It's where I learned that Ace's name is Dorothy, which is quite funny. Happiness Patrol, my favourite of his. I love the Happiness Patrol. The Candyman is great. Shut up. And this is where the first defining moment comes in, because he literally mind manipulates a man who's holding a gun to him and says, "Go on then, kill me, go on," and just scares the guy out of killing him. You've got Remembrance of the Daleks. His shouting at Davros, his mockery of him, where he just blows up Skaro and Davros says, "Have pity on me," and he says, "I have pity for you," and kind of just hangs up the Skype call. Brilliant. Remembrance of the Daleks is one of the best classic Who episodes ever. and it's great. Greatest show in the galaxy. I think it's a lot of fun, really. I love it. Lets him show off his sillier side. Battlefield. I think this is my favourite defining moment for him, because his speech on nuclear war, where basically there's a countdown for a minute and he has to give a speech in like 30 seconds basically to convince someone not to end the world. I mean, Peter Capaldi has to reset time and repeatedly give a speech to stop the Zygons from doing it. 30 seconds. Battlefield's good, and it's the last televised episode with the Brigadier, except that one Sarah Jane Adventures episode, and technically the Cyberman in 12. Okay, anyway. Also, why did they put the Brigadier in Sarah Jane Adventures? Nobody's going to know who's watching the Sarah Jane Adventures, who the Brigadier is. Ghostlight, that's a good Ace episode. Curse of Fenric, Survival. That's basically all of the ones with Ace. Anyway, worst episodes, I haven't said anything. Seventh Doctor is just very fun to listen to, and his Big Finish audios are especially good because Sylvester McCoy sounds exactly the same now as he did before. Okay. The Eighth Doctor. My favourite. My favourite is the Eighth Doctor, and I'm going to talk a lot about him now. This is how long my list is. I've put a lot of stuff on my best list, and I've put a few things in his, and I wasn't even sure. So it's best to start off with his worst. Phobos is just a bit forgettable. I still liked it. 8th Doctor Adventures Series 4, I'm not that fond of Tamsin, and it's kind of weird and back and forth, and the overarching story just doesn't work for me. It's not even an episode. I put the fact he keeps losing his memory. He gets a lot of amnesia. 8 here. And Stranded, ? Because I've not listened to it. It just seems weird. Right. This is my best episode. And let's start off with an absolute banger. The TV movie. Yes. And I haven't put Night of the Doctor in there because I forgot about it. Oops. The TV movie. Yes, you may think the TV movie is shit, but watch it. I think the only problem... I genuinely think my only issue with the TV movie is all of the other actors. I mean, it's a bit American. I don't like the fact that they say that the reason he's weird is because he's British. That's very American of them. Eric Roberts as the Master, I like the Eric Roberts Master. I forgot what the kid's called. Anyway, him, I don't like. I think he's just wasn't great actor-wise. Daphne Ashbrook works. Not terrible as a companion. Not great either. But I like it. I'm not saying it's his best story, but it's great. I love it. And I think Paul McGann steals the show absolutely in that episode. Then, I'm basically a lot of stuff. So, here were the audios that came to mind when I was thinking about it. Starting with one of my favourite stories ever, Zagreus. Don't listen to that unless you've listened to the whole series leading up to it. But don't worry, it's on Spotify, and I'm going to talk more about it when I'm done. Chimes of Midnight, one of the best stories ever. Murder mystery, weird, confusing suicide thing. Seasons of Fear, yes, I like it. Somebody tells the Doctor he's killed him in the future, so the Doctor goes and keeps meeting this immortal man throughout history and finds out what's going on. Human Resources. They end up working for a company in Human Resources, weirdly, without remembering how they got there or remembering ever going home from there. And the Cybermen show up. Faith Stealer. In the Divergent series, this was one of my favourite stories, as well as Time Work. But Faith Stealer was good, just as a sort of forget you're in the Divergent universe for a minute and listen to this story, where religions are basically advertised as if they were products, and everyone has one, and you can just make one up and be it. Memory Lane. I love Memory Lane. They show up on a street, and every house is the same house with the same people in it, with a man who thinks he's a 10-year-old child, and I can't say anything else, but it's good. Terra Firma, a great Davros story where they've just escaped the Divergent universe and realised the Daleks have taken over the world while they were gone. It's good. Other Lives. Everyone has to live other lives. The Doctor has to pretend to be someone's husband, Charlie has to pretend to be the Queen of France, and Keres ends up in a freak show. And let me talk about Keres now. So that's a great episode for Keres because he genuinely is terrifying. I like Keres. I don't like his ending, which is why I haven't put Absolution on there. But Keres is great. The Girl Who Never Was redeems Absolution because Charlie just wants to leave because the Doctor tries to move on immediately from it. It's sort of like Edric's death done right. Immortal Beloved. Oh, that's the one with a father who all his children through history, when he's about to die in his body, uses a machine to take over the next one, which is morally wrong. They go and stop it. Blood of the Daleks. Great introduction to any audio, really, and especially to the 8th Doctor, because it's similar to the new, that series is similar to the new format. But Blood of the Daleks is great. I would basically describe it as Revolution of the Daleks done better, but that's just so, I mean, not exactly at all. I mean, it is far from that, but think Daleks hating other Daleks because they're not like normal Daleks, but done correctly. Horror of Glamrock, I think it's called. I wasn't sure. I can't remember. It's them stuck in a service station. Max Warp, Top Gear in space. Brave New Town, Auton episode where where they're in a town that's been living the same day for years and years and years. Sisters of the Flame, that 2-parter is just great, and it's got a giant centipede character. I'm trying to get through these fast, but there's still a few left. Grand Theft Cosmos, just for a little fun. The Doctor is actually racing against the headhunter and her companion to steal something first. Scapegoat, a goat person who can appear as a human, who can die and come back to life, has been dying on stage at the end of plays for years, but it's got to the end of his life and he's about to be killed for real. The Cannibalists, the Doctor and Lucy go to, I don't know where they are, but there's robots that are cannibalising other robots and ripping out parts of them for their own. The Time War box set 1 is just fantastic, and all of Dark Eyes is fantastic, and I've put it in that because I was running out of space. All of the 8th Doctor is brilliant. The 8th Doctor is charming. The 8th Doctor is a brilliant actor. He's got a beautiful voice. If there's any Doctor that should be audio, it's him. And I'm just glad that he's got the content he's been given. I don't know how to talk about him and do him justice. He's charming, does the dramatic really well. He pulls off the romance better than David Tennant, in my opinion, because of how played down it is. Scherzo is another one I haven't mentioned that should actually be number 1, probably. And if you're going to listen to one of his... I don't know if it would be that, because there are prerequisites to it, but that calls all of that into question. I can't say anything else, but the 8th Doctor is just a really charming, does the dramatic well. Keeps losing his memory, which they should stop doing. And yeah, in the Time War, he really pulls off the, you know, how he's slowly getting broken apart. I think the real thing I can say is I don't know what to say about him to describe him properly, but this is leading me on to something important, because I think people should give the Big Finish stuff a go. But it's expensive, isn't it? No. Not when you first start. Right, look up Doctor Who The Monthly Adventures and go on the Wikipedia page that comes up for it. You will get a list of every story with a number. So look for the first 50 of them, and they're all on Spotify for free. You've also got the first series of the 8th Doctor Adventures. This is where I'd start. You do them and all of the 8th Doctor ones, and I think it's great because it adds a new Doctor that you might not have heard much of before. From there, I would also try out the 10th Doctor, the War Doctor, and maybe even branch out into some kind of spin-off like the War Master, the first Doctor Adventures. Those are the ones I started with, and I think it's good. But yeah, the stuff that's free on Spotify, go for that first. And on that note, I am done. That was an hour long. Yep. Right. Okay. I don't know how to end this. Right, well, I just will end it then. Great.